Welcome back to third episode of this series. In last series, I explained that I found many cities across world with name Tikala. That can't be coincidence. That itself should prove Mesoamericans' connection with Mesopotamians, and for that matter, with India. I'm pretty sure that all these cities would have built thousands of years ago. Greek city Trikala is said to be inhabited in 3000 BC, almost 2000 years before fall of Bronze Age, maybe older than Athens and Sparta. But surprisingly, we don't find references to that city in any of the Greek history or mythology. Well, this is not a topic for me to discuss, and let's avoid it for now. And let's get started with the main subject area. As I explained in previous part, based on some hieroglyphs, I was convinced Mayans have relation with India like culture. But when I found many cities named as Tikala, I broadened my perspective to say long back that civilization should have been lived at many places from Bali to Greek. I started looking at Mesopotamians and Greek history in detail. Long back in 2003, I had seen Assyrian and Sumerian statues and tablets in British Museum. That was always at back of my mind. I have grown up listening to mythological stories of Asuras and Sumer from my grandparents. There are tons of stories and references in Indian text about Asuras. Can this be coincidence too? Well, it might be. So I decided to start from there. There are many tablets written in cuneiform that are survived till date. Archaeologists have deciphered it and documented many things and history of Assyrians and Sumerians. Some of the documentaries about Sumerians talk about their origin in that they say Sumerians might have came from Indian side. Many documents talk about things that match with Indian myths. For example, Sumerian story of god Anos, a fish god. It's very close to Matsya Avatar. But these things can't be solid evidences to conclude anything. There are few deities like Inki, Anunnaki, Jelamun that looks like non-Indian. Deciphering any text written in unknown script is always a challenge. So no doubt, scholars and archaeologists have done a remarkable job of getting the right meaning out of cuneiforms. Though there is always a possibility of misreading and errors. Initially, I wanted to study cuneiforms and translate it myself to see if there are any gaps in deciphering cuneiforms. As I was not confident on my hypothesis, I decided to park that question aside and started reading about other kingdoms. Most interestingly, I come across history of Mitannides. Mitannides are also known as Hanigalbat. Mitanni was one of the powerful kingdom during ancient time. They have played important part in ancient Mesopotamia region. Historians also confirm references to Vedic gods like Indra, Mitra in their texts. Interesting, isn't it? So this is something that supported my hypothesis to some extent. Mitanni king names and some of the images started showing they are part of Indo-European language branch and more closer to Indians. As per historians, Mitannis had diplomatic relationship with Egyptians. Daughter of Shutarna II was married to Pharaoh Amenhotep III. So I decided to take a look at Egyptian history. At the beginning, I was totally lost as Egyptian language started showing different characteristics, something that is not part of Indo-European language family. I was stuck and I had no option and no direction to take my research further. So finally, I decided to go back to Greek and Macedonian history. In that, I come across a point which all historians agree: conquest of Alexander the Great. In that, I found a reference to Siwa Desert in Egypt, place where Alexander consulted Oracle of Amun. From my research perspective, I had got my next clue: word Shiva. This is a main deity for Hindus and commonly used Indian name. This made me to take a closer look at Egyptian history again. This time, not into translated information, but into actual hieroglyphs. What I found in hieroglyph was striking. I was not believing myself. For me, it was the same moment that Champollion faced when he first deciphered Egyptian text. So, I just decided to compile my work and share it with experts to get a clarity and confirmation that yes, there is some point in what I'm proposing, or whatever I'm seeing is a right analysis. And this video is outcome of that process. So here is my hypothesis. Number one, Africans were founder of Egyptian civilization. Number two, many civilizations across world should have been originated or influenced by Egyptians. Both of these statements are accepted facts, so I don't think anybody would disagree. Before I make next statements that would make you go mad or get annoyed, I would like to take help of my favorite philosopher, Plato. In his one of the famous story, Allegory of Cave, he teaches very interesting theory. This theory goes like this. Many times people are like prisoners in dark cave. They see shadows and they assume what they see is the truth. Whereas actual reality is totally different. When one of the prisoner realizes and try to explain it to other prisoners, none of the prisoner trust him and gets angry. Very interesting philosophy. This philosophy is very deep and applicable at many places. So guys, please bear with me before you jump to any conclusion. Statements I'm going to make might look ridiculous, but trust me, Egyptian and Greek history is full of mysteries. It is badly tampered, and what we see is not actual truth. Well, if you don't agree with me, then take it as a hypothesis and provide me your inputs to validate and correct my finding. Okay, so let me go ahead with next set of hypothesis statements. Number 3, both Indian and Egyptian civilizations show characteristics of multi-ethnic tribes bound together and living peacefully. No need to mention, we see similarity in architecture and beliefs. Number 4, Egyptian language should have been part of Indo-European language family, mostly some dialect of Sanskrit. In other words, we can read hieroglyphs using Indian language and it looks like it gives consistent and accurate translation compared to current translation. To explain this hypothesis, I have to take you through a longer journey, and this journey includes learning how to read hieroglyphs and reading actual script and hieroglyphs to understand what has been written by Egyptians. I hope you will be with me on that journey and you have enjoyed this video. Stay tuned to meet me in next video. Till that time, bye bye and take care.